Well, hello there. Hi. Hello, everyone. I'm trying to be a little bit quiet because I've got two new rats behind me, just here in this cage. Two male rats, pre-owned, and unfortunately, they're not very friendly. Far from it. They're quite vicious, and I can only put it down to a lack of attention, lack of handling. Because they're both very frightened, and I get so disappointed. I get so depressed about that because rats are very friendly creatures. They are, you know. It's quite rare you find a bitey rat, or for me anyway. I've owned rats for probably 13 years now. Betty, keep still. I've got Betty out because she's gonna help me out with calming these rats down. So, got a nice cup of tea. I'm going to try and take my time here on this video. Betty's quite eager to get over in the cage. She knows there's rats there. I have introduced her already. I've had the rats for 3 days now, and the first day I got them, I got bit, like quite badly. They drew a lot of blood. They've got very long, sharp teeth, I should tell you that. So if you do happen to know that a rat is nervous or prone to biting, use caution. Definitely use caution. I shouldn't have gone in straight away. I assumed they were friendly because they come from a previous owner who, gave them names and said that the what did she say? Oh, she described them as fur babies, which obviously gives you the impression that they're friendly. And like I say, rats, it's a last resort. When I think I've had one male myself, again, who I bought from somebody else, who was just a bit like moody, didn't want to be touched, weren't used to being handled, weren't used to being stroked. So, but I got him pretty good. I got him pretty handleable. The earlier you catch it, the better chance you've got at sorting it out. I'm sorry, Betty. I'm keeping you here for now. She's just anxious to get away and get into the cage. Don't usually keep her on my shoulder for too long. It's usually just like transferring her from one place to another. So I'll explain a little bit what I'm doing here. Okay, she's run straight into the cage. That's fine. So what Betty's gonna do is calm these rats down. They'll try and breed with her as well, like possibly, which isn't a problem. I'm quite happy to have a litter from Betty. But the main reason she's in there is to let the rats know that there's other rats around, they're calm, and there's nothing to be afraid of, basically. So it's like a calming, therapeutic thing for these rats. As you can see, they've woken up now that she's in there. That so that just shows that they're a bit more comfortable now. Whereas before they were just hiding in the back of the cage. So this is like a distraction, and it's a bit of a encouragement, to come out their shell and gain a bit of confidence, act like normal rats. So I've done this once before with Betty, got her in there yesterday, and yeah, it just made such a difference to them. They woke up, they started moving around, they wanted to sniff each other, lick each other. She is just teasing them now. She's basically saying, chase me, and she'll squeak when they catch up with her. I guess that's women for you, isn't it? What are you like, Betty? Eh? You little tease. So she's having a good time. She's not stressed. If she was, she'd just run straight back onto my shoulder. But she's kind of playing with these two. Don't you mooch around. Go and do your job. That's right. So I don't know if you can see these properly. I've got my tea in the way as well. But I'll try and move the cage a little bit closer. See if we can get a better view. Hope that's alright. Don't even know if you can see me. Nice cup of tea. No sugar. No sugar for me, thank you. I'll pop that there. So, these two rats, right, I got told they're roughly 12 months old. The previous owner bought them from Pets at Home. It's a common story that I get told because I've rehomed dozens of rats and other animals in the past. When I say rehomed, I mean I've taken them in from other people. So a lot of people like say, "Oh, I rescued this, rescued that." You can use that term if you want, but it's overused. The majority of people out there rescuing animals, they're going out of the fire and into the frying pan, so it's hardly rescuing. So I found most people who use that term, they're actually not genuinely, they're not telling the truth, to be frank. Sorry if I'm coming across a little bit annoyed and impatient in this video, but it's because I'm reaching like the ends of my tether with the pet community, the animal community, pet owners in general. Stories I hear in the newspapers, on Facebook, social media. It's always the same story, and it's always just neglect, just basically neglect. They may be getting fed and watered, but they're not being interacted with, they're not being handled, there's no training happening. So they're basically just left in the cage to their own devices, and these animals get depressed if they're not stimulated and interacted with. They get depressed and they develop behavioural problems like biting and defensive and scared. So we've got a little bit of a battle going on in here. It's nothing to worry about. Basically, one of the boys is perked up and he's trying to mate with Betty now, and she's just kicking him away. And they will have a little squabble, they will have a little, it sounds worse than it is, but they're literally just communicating with each other. That's all it is. Body language and sounds. So she told him no, and he's gone away. He's just grooming himself now. So that'll go on for like at least a couple of hours, if not a couple of days. It seems to be the way every time when two rats get together to mate. The female acts curious but then resistant, so she'll run away but go up to the male and sort of like present herself and run away and hope he chases after her. That's what the purpose of the females is. That's what they do. The males, he'll just smell if it's a female and if she's in season, and if she is, he'll just try and mate her. And that, like I say, it could go on for minutes or hours or even days, every time. And we've just had a successful copulation there. So he's just humped Betty. He's having the time of his life. And that's good, because it's taken him out of this negative mindset where they're sat there and they're waiting for something bad to happen. That's what these rats are used to, So they're cautious, but you can tell now they've livened up and they're more comfortable with themselves. On your bed, Rocky. On your bed. No. Rocky's not allowed to come over. These two rats are a bit too nervous to have a dog near them. So I'll get back to the bite anyway. I feel like I'm going all over the place here. So I wrote an advertisement just on my local classifieds ads. Rats wanted, love and home available. Just let me know what you've got and I'll get in touch. So yeah, I got an email pretty quick. And like I say, it was just a familiar story. Bought them from Pets at Home last year. Haven't got time for them. They're lovely, but we can't keep them. So would you like them? So yeah, I just asked if they're healthy, how old they are, and that's it really. And the couple came and dropped them off a few days later. Probably like 2 or 3 days ago now, and yeah, so they brought them in this big cage. So and it was just apparent that they didn't, you know, I asked them, are they okay to handle, can I get them out, you know, I was excited to see them. So they went, they kind of said the white one's better than the black and white one. You know, they weren't too sure, but they said just one of them's better than the other. That's what they said. So I'm confident with rats, and like I say, it's very rare a rat will bite you. It's like a very last resort. Only a wild rat or a severely neglected rat would go to that extreme. Honestly, especially if they've come from a pet shop, you know, you would think they've had enough human interaction to not be afraid when they're being approached or picked up. So I just went in there, you know, and I picked one up, and it struggled, it tried to get away, but I was persistent, because I find it is best to just get it done quickly. You know, if you go chasing them around, the cage too much, it just becomes stressful. So you don't want to be chasing them around. So I just went in, picked one up firmly, and when I got it out of the cage, it panicked. It panicked big time. It was the white one, and I got bit, and it's quite a deep bite, deep cut. So the teeth sliced through my thumb there and kind of met in the middle and then split my thumb open. It's actually a bit swollen. I've also got another bite here and another one somewhere here on my hand, and another one just here on my index finger. I hope I'm showing you that okay. But yeah, you can see where the teeth marks went in. And it was painful, and I was bleeding a lot. So I had to quickly drop the rat. You know, I tried to transfer it into a smaller cage basically, and I couldn't. It was that aggressive, you know. I had to drop it on the floor, and that's not good, you know, but it had to be done. So I told the guys, they were still here, and I was like, why are they so aggressive? Why are they so scared? And they said it was the car journey, which, you know, I can understand a little bit, but it doesn't explain the level of aggression that they were showing. It just doesn't explain it. And since having them for more than 24 hours, I've started to realise, yeah, these have never been touched, these have never been interacted with, never been handled. I later on asked them, you know, have you did you get these rats out? And they didn't reply. You know, once they got rid of them at my door, that was it. Didn't hear from them. So yeah, this is a common story. It's a common story, far too common. Like I say, it gets me down, and I wish I could do more, but I can't. And especially if people are leaving it till it's too late, you know. If you're leaving it till it's too late, then the animal's got no chance to be rehabilitated, you know, or very little chance. It takes someone like me who's very dedicated um, to even attempt it. So that's what I'm doing now. So, like, for the past couple of days, I've had the cage. I've transferred both rats into a smaller cage. That makes it easier for me to interact with them, because if they're in a large cage, you can't interact with them, can you? They'll just run away to the back of the cage, and you know you're struggling to put your hand in, and no, can't have any of that. It's much easier, much better to start off with a small, simple cage. Hello, Betty. And work your way up. Once they're friendly, once they're handleable, then you can let them do what they like, or you can pop them in a bigger cage, and then you don't have to worry about going in and grabbing a rat every time. I mean, I don't know why people get rats, really, if they're just going to keep them in a spare bedroom, or, you know, out the way in a dark room somewhere, and not interact with them, just feed them and water them. What is the point? I don't understand that. Not even for feeding purposes, you know, even if you're breeding rats just for feeding purposes, I think it's cruel to just have them exist. You know what I mean? You've gotta give them some sort of interaction. You've got to give them toys. You've got to give them treats. They deserve happiness, and whether they're food or whether they're pets, it really doesn't matter. You know, I treat them all the same. I really do. So if these two happen to not progress, if they get any worse, or if they're just not handleable, then they're no good to me. They're no good to anybody. Can't rehome them. I couldn't imagine if, like, it was a family who they gave them to. If they gave them to a family with kids, or is two rats, you know, what would that do? To end up with children getting bitten severely and put off for life by rats. You know, it's just a domino effect. Like, so negative. Just doesn't need to be that way. Wish people had more patience and more time for their pets. It's just very commonplace. You naughty Betty. Yeah, sorry if I'm going on a bit of a rant, but it winds me up. Really winds me up. There's nothing wrong with these two rats. It's not their fault. They've been neglected. They've been cared for. They've been fed, cleaned. You know, they look healthy enough. There's no problems, but they're just aggressive, and you cannot pick them up. You pick one up, you're gonna get a hole in your hand. Rats' teeth are nasty, you know, and if they want to use them, they can inflict some damage. So you always want rats that are, you know, friendly, young, if you can, from 12 weeks onwards. You know, the younger you start interacting with them, the better they're going to be to handle. So now it's going to take me, might take me a few weeks, it might take me a few months, I really don't know. It's only been a couple of days so far, and I've managed to feed them. I've managed to feed them by hand. Oh, no, you're looking for Betty, aren't you? Betty, he's looking for you. See, she goes up to him. Here I am. And then she'll just turn around, run away. Come and get me. Come and get me. Oh, it's courtship. Little courtship behaviour. Hello, Betty. Tiki tiki, tiki tiki. But yeah, this is good for these two rats. It's just so good for them. And I'll do this with Leche as well, because she's a nice calm rat and she's a bit older, so they won't try and hump her. I think she's a bit over the hill, so past breeding age. But yeah, the more they interact with my rats and me like this, one-on-one in close proximity, the more likely they're gonna calm down, they're gonna relax, and hopefully, little by little, I'll teach them that I mean food, you know. Here you go. You want one? You want one? So right now I'm feeding them through the bars just with little treats, because they're not confident enough yet to actually come out and take them from me. Even that took like a day of doing this before they come up to the bars and actually take food from me. So like I say, it's going to take a while, but I'll try and film the progress, because I enjoy a challenge, you know, I really do, and I hate to see animals, pets going to waste or being given up on when it's not their fault. I hate that, you know. So they deserve a chance. I'm going to give them a chance, and if they improve, they'll stay and they'll have a happy life. They'll be spoiled. And I might be able to do a bit of training with them. I'm not sure. We'll see how far gone they are. If they're a year old, like they said they were, then I haven't got much time left with them either. I've only got like another year, maybe 2 years max with these rats. So time is of the essence. I've got to work hard at this. So every day I'm going to have the cage next to me at all times. If I'm in the living room watching TV, they'll be there with me. If I'm in here eating my tea or whatever, then I'll have them with me. And that'll just familiarise them with me, my voice, the noises I make. You know, it's all brand new to them because they've been kept in a quiet room out the way. I can tell. It's such a shame. And I'd love to be able to just pick one up for you now and show you, but I can't. I can't do that. These rats are practically wild. I can't get my head around it because rats are some of the most friendliest animals I've ever met. You know, they're really like, their last resort is to bite. They run away and get away from you before they bite you. And even if they are nervous and you do manage to pick them up, like I say, they should never bite. They should never bite. But I'm seeing it's becoming a problem now. It's becoming more common, and maybe nearly all of them, all of the rats that I've taken on from previous homes have all had some sort of behavioural issue that I've got to work on, you know. Sometimes I question what I'm doing with my life, but I do enjoy it. I prefer the company of these rats to some people, to be honest. Some idiots out there, as you all know, I'm sure. So look at that now. The 3 of them are in there and they've just calmed down and they're starting to have a little nibble. And this was my aim, to get the camera out, try and show you a little bit of me feeding them, interacting with them. But you can't rush. You can't rush these things. Good. Yeah, you kind of half took that one off me then. And I try and make that noise every time I'm about to give them food. A little. You know. make that noise, and then the next time you go to approach, if you make that noise, they'll just automatically come to the cave, to the bars to see, ooh, I think that's food. You know, they're very smart and they're very quick learners. So I can't bend my head around how they'll get into this state, you know. Please, if you've got pets at home, care for them, interact with them. It's no good having a dog or a cat or a rat or a guinea pig if it's just kept in a cage on its own just to do what it does. You know, it's gonna develop problems. I don't get it. It's so rewarding having rats, you know, and when you get them to trust you, and they'll climb up on you, they'll miss you, they'll, like, you know, when you come in, they'll actually come up to the bars and be like, oh, he's in, he's come home, let's come out and play. You know, that's what rats are like. Good girl, Betty. So it's a crying shame. It's a crying shame when they're aggressive. You know, it gives them a bad name, and it's not them. It's not their fault. I'm being extremely brave, you know, putting my fingers anywhere near their face, to be honest. Like I showed you, these are still painful, they're throbbing, they bled for a whole day. They've pretty much only just stopped. If I knock it, it will bleed again. This went really deep into my thumb. So yeah, they meant business. They really meant business. So we've got the black and white rat is now trying to dominate the white rat. So the two males are kind of play fighting, I'd say. And it's probably just like a bit of bravado in front of the female. You know, the longer she sticks around in there, one of the rats will have to come out on top, you know. So the longer she's around, one of the males is going to claim her, and then it could cause jealousy. It could cause standoff behaviour between the two males. But like I say, if you don't, they've lived together all their lives, and she's just in there temporarily just to like pick them up and make them feel safe and comfortable. And she's done her job. He's a big boy. This white one is massive. Oh, he's massive. His teeth are massive too. Hello, Betty. She loves him. She's chasing after him and she's like, come and get me, come and get me. So if I move this, I've got a feeling he'll freak out. I've done it nice and softly. But yeah, he's freaking out a bit. Just because I'm moving the cage. You see that? Any little bit of movement, any little bit of strange noise, and they're shitting themselves, excuse the language. And that's not right. They should be accustomed to you grabbing the cage and moving it around and putting your tea down. They should be accustomed to all these noises already. But they're not. It's like starting from day one with a baby, you know. Except they're not babies, they're adults, which means they're dangerous potentially, you know. But I'll get there. I do think I'll get there with these rats, and I look forward to working with them, you know, and look forward to getting one out for you one day and actually showing you, look, it took me X amount of weeks to get this far with an aggressive rat. It can be done. It can be done. Not always. Some rats are just too far gone. And in that case, it's best that they get put down. It really is, because you've got a frightened rat just living in fear, and that's just a horrible life. There's no need for that. You know, it's happened once before with one of my males. Again, I took it from somebody else. There was a pair, and got told they were fine together, and they were kind of, but I noticed one was bullying the other. You know, I noticed, and it made them both unhappy. And the one that was bullying Bungle was a nervous rat. He was nervous anyway. He didn't like to be picked up, didn't like to be handled. He'd screech and squeak, you know, rather than just let me touch him. So the decision was made to end his life and let Bungle live a good life, and he did. And yeah, sometimes these things play out. You know, you just gotta roll with the punches, I guess, and do what's best at the time. Try and figure it out. But if your bats aren't happy together, do something about it. Separate them. Spend one-on-one time with them individually, and you'll see a difference. You'll see a big difference. And then maybe you can even regroup them together once you've done that. But together, two rats who are nervous, they'll just feed off each other's nervousness, you know. So I might even end up separating these two for a little while, just so I can work on them individually. One rat is easier than two rats. If one rat flinches, the other flinches, you know, so they're both scared. But if one rat flinches just on its own, you can work on that, you know. So just trying to, like, don't know, give out a little bit of advice, tell you a little bit about my experiences. I could talk forever about it, and I probably have already. You're probably sick of me. So I might end the video here, but I'll make sure to regularly film this, because I want to document it, and if I can get them friendly and handleable, I'll be very proud of myself. I'll be very happy for the rats. So yeah, if you've got any questions, drop me a comment. Follow me on Instagram. It's SleepyWeasel21. Got loads of lovely pictures on there of all my previous pets, reptiles, or animals that I've come into contact with. So please have a little look, and I'm quite proud of them. So if you could leave them a like, that'd be brilliant. I'd really appreciate it. So they've all settled down now over there. Even Betty's settled down. Come on. So I'm going to pull her out of here and pop her back into a cage. Because she's done her job. I don't know how long this has gone on for, but you know, 10-20 minutes is long enough. Give them a break, good hour or two, and then go back at it again. So you never know, I might be filming again tonight, we'll see. But say bye, Betty. Bye bye. Say thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Catch you later, guys.